So continuing with our GIF animation, a new class period, just remembering what the end goal is, to showcase a transformation in sequential frames, right? Our storyboard will have 9 frames, but our animated file might have many, many more than that, right? So this is what's called a refined storyboard. But if you just animate those 9 frames of the storyboard, it will look pretty choppy. It's like an animatic, but it just still tells the story. So these keyframes that you use in your storyboard, that you sketched out in your rough storyboard, they make sure that the transformation shows. But you might need a lot of in-between frames and transitions, for instance, to get it to set to reset at the end, or just to move more smoothly, like it does here. You might decide to spend longer on certain aspects, like they spend several frames just showing the bird flying before starting the transformation. And these are the 3 components that are required for submitting and being able to get full credit. Your rough storyboard sketch. So the deadline is by 11:59 tonight, so make sure you have that. Your GIF animation, which is 8 by 8 inches at 150 pixels per inch, or 100 is the minimum for this, but we're doing 150 because that's what's asked for in the assignment. Right here, and it just makes a better quality screen image for high-def screens. And then what we need to learn to do today, once we're done with our animation, is the refined storyboard. It's kind of like making a flip book out of frame stills from our animation. But this should tell the story, this should tell the story. This sketch should help us understand what's essential about the story. So in opening up my project, I go to assignment 3 in my folder. I open up just my sketch, just to remind myself of what I'm doing, where I'm trying to get to, because we can often, bless you, we can often go astray in animation and get kind of stuck on tangents. So remember, this is the main components, right? Then I have my 2 files. They're both Photoshop files. The first is my assets file, which I label green. My second is my stage file. They look identical, except the assets has tons of layers. Everything I use to build my frames is in here as a separate layer. My stage, everything is flattened into a single layer. And this becomes kind of my film strip that I'll be able to animate. So far I have 11 frames. This is where I left off. And I can kind of do a quick test of my animation, just seeing by turning on these eyeballs what's happening. So this is where I left off. The hand just let go of the head. It snapped back. The pizza's on its way down. That's all set up here. So I'm deviating from this a little bit. I'm not going to have the hand push the head down. I'm going to have it snap down. And then I'm going to rebuild these frames until the pizza goes away again. So I want to rebuild all of these until the pizza goes away again. So the hand now needs to start coming down again. And that's all because I decided to add that pizza sun, right? But luckily, check this out. This is how you have to kind of think through your animation. The pizza sun doesn't begin in my stage until layer 6. So I can use layers 1 through 5. This is where compositing comes in. I can duplicate them, Command J, move them up above everything. So that this is the last frame I had. Oh, I can't because the pizza's gone. Never mind. But basically I'm going to be rebuilding these frames but adding the pizza in. That is the task. And there's a few ways I can do this. But I think I want a different starting frame. So, if I didn't have the pizza, I could just repeat the same frames. which is something that Japanese animation does a lot. There's lots of like cost-saving ways in animation to make things more efficient for storytelling. Okay, so I know where I am. I know my components. Now I'm going to start with the pizza, right? I have my guides for how the pizza should move. So I'm going to move the pizza down first thing. I have to make a duplicate of it. Keep forgetting. And it goes down and a little bit to the left because it's kind of sinking at an angle. Right? Maybe not that far to the left. All right. Now I'm going to get the hand. Actually, I'll maybe leave the hand hovering. We'll see. But I got to find my creature. And I'm going to pose the body a little differently. And ideally, I can just use one of the poses I've already made, like this frame. So it goes from this to this. So now it's about the pizza moving. Right. Should I have the hand just disappear? Maybe. So that's easy enough. Okay, so that's my next frame. I'm going to select. I'm not going to select it all yet, but I have to flatten it all and then copy it over. So I can do that in a few ways. I can go to my topmost visible layer, hold down Option, then say Layer Merge Visible, and that will give me, a combined layer, but then I have to delete it later, so it's confusing. So what I'm doing this semester is I'm just saying, having my history open, saying Layer Flatten the image on the assets. I let it show me this warning because it's a scary step because I lose all my layers. Then I select it all, select everything in that one image, and then I copy it, edit copy. And as soon as I do that, it puts that image onto the clipboard, and I go back before I flattened it in my history. And I know I've repeated this a lot, but it's something you have to get down for yourself in the workflow of animation. Then I go to my stage, and I paste it on top. I say edit paste on top of the last layer. And now I've added that frame to my animation. And I can decide if I like it or not. But the head's been moving so much, it's kind of weird that the head doesn't move between these two. Yes, bless you. So I'm going to delete that and then reset it just a little bit. I'm just going to move the head a tiny bit. I'm going to duplicate the head. And I'm going to tilt it. Just simple. So the only difference is now that the head is moved a little bit with the body. Simple. But I like it better. So you can make little tweaks once you get used to this process. And then I say Layer, Flatten Image, Select All, which is Command A, Command C, which is Copy. Go back in your history before you flatten the image, and then go to your stage and Command V, paste it in. Okay, good. So far, so good. I'm going to save my stage. Make sure you have your layers, and then you can save your assets, Command S. Okay, now I'm going to start with the pizza again. Got to move that pizza. Make a duplicate of it. Because I'm letting the pizza get a little bit more opaque as it sets, I have two pizza layers open, right? Because they're showing through each other a little bit. But I take the newest one and I move it down and to the left a little bit more. And I have my guides to help kind of measure that out. So this is the movement from this to this to this to that. All right, next I want to show the hand coming back in. And I want to move the head of the creature a little bit. So I take the last layer that's open, I duplicate it, and I'm going to transform it, and I'm going to move the head back up. Or maybe tilt it back. And I want to change the body. I'll just take a different pose of the body. Because I took all that time to do these puppet warps. So now I can use them in different ways. Turning them on and off. They're not in a particular order. All right, now I can see what that looks like. So I love having the assets next to the stage so I can just preview it before I flatten it and bring it over. And I can make little tweaks like setting the head back so it moves with the body. All right, so he looks a little startled. It's like he knows the hand is coming again for him. So layer, flatten image. Say okay, Command A, Command C, go before I flattened it, and then Command V to paste it in on the stage. The sun is moving well. Just going to look at that sun. All right, save it. Make sure I have layers. Save my assets because I keep adding assets. More sun. It's like more cowbell.
Really?
All right. So at this point, I don't even really need to use guides anymore. I kind of know the movement of the sun, and the sun actually sinks faster as it gets nearer the horizon. So I can broaden these a little bit. And I can actually take its opacity up a little bit. So it doesn't look like I've moved it to the left enough. And you can always check it with kind of the motions. Okay, so let's play it. Nope, it needs to move to the left more. There we go. Okay, now the hand is just going to go down more. And I might speed it up. Well, no, I don't know. No, I guess not. And I'm going to move the character's head one more time. And I'm going to move the body one more time. Kind of cringing. All right, yep, everything works. Gonna flatten it. Layer, flatten image. Scary. Clear the warning. Select all. Command C. Go to my stage. So once you get that flatten warning, it's always going to be Command A, Command C, move to the stage, and Command V, paste it in. But you have to remember, when you don't see your layers in your assets, go to